Okay, welcome back. Today the title would be Salting Our Lives. It's in the Chayenu 139 on top. The pasuk that we're discussing can be found in chapter 6, verse 18 in Parshas Tzav. The pasuk goes like this: Speak to Aaron and to his sons, Daber Laon Rabbanu, saying, this is the regulation of the sin offering, the Korban Chatos, sin offering. The sin offering must be slaughtered before God in the same place where the ascent offering is slaughtered. It is of superior holiness. Okay? So the sin offering has to be burnt the same place as where the ascent offering, the Ola, burnt offering, and it is a superior holiness. Now, the purpose of all sacrifices was to enable us to draw close to God. Korban, Kirub, to come closer to God. The fact that the offerings were accompanied by salt teaches us that similarly our approach to God must incorporate the various properties of salt. With our approach to God, we have to incorporate the various properties of salt. What are they? Number one, taste. Salt often brings out the taste in otherwise tasteless foods. Salt is compared to the inner dimension of the Torah, the study of which adds vitality and taste to our observance of the Torah laws. If you want to have flavor in your regular learning, you need to learn Chassidus, because that's the salt that brings out the flavor in the food that might otherwise be tasteless. Mm-hmm. The second part, we'll call it the second attribute of salt, is permanence, which means salt is a preservative. It itself never decays. Salt never decays, no need for expiration date. Similarly, our approach to God must be serious and earnest. It should not be a transient affair. One day you're feeling this way, tomorrow you're feeling that way. This is to have a permanence in our approach to God, to have the seriousness and earnestness. This is possible only when we stir the essence of our soul and reveal our super rational love for God. To try to figure out a way to arouse the super rational love to God. If your love to God is rational, then it's not going to be consistent. You would lose the permanence of it. You would lose the earnestness of it and the like. So that's the second part of the salt. So far we spoke about the taste, bringing the taste in your learning, which is done through the inner dimension of Torah. Number two, we spoke about the permanence. Salt is a preservative. It shows consistency, it never decays. Our approach to God must be the same way, and we can accomplish it by revealing our super rational love for God. Third concept within salt is cleansing. Salt is a cleanser and disinfectant.
Yep.
Similarly, I guess we can utilize it now with
we can use a mouthwash.
With the virus, we can use mouthwash, or with maybe wash our hands with salt. I don't know if I'm not a doctor. I don't know if doctors would be agreeing to it, but it says clearly salt is a cleanser and disinfectant. Similarly, our approach to God must be accompanied by an attempt to purge our lives of all negative forces, cleanse ourselves from all negative forces, all negative energies, and the like. So that's the number three character within salt. And number four, the fourth element is healing. The prophet Elisha, the prophet, healed the waters of Yericho with salt. Famous story. Can be found in the books of Kings, second books of Kings, in chapter 2, verse 19 to 22, discusses this story with Elisha, the prophet Elijah. healed the waters of Jericho with salt. Similarly, our approach to God must serve to heal our animal drives, tone them down, the animal drives, by eliminating their materialistic orientation and directing them toward divinity. So we see these 4 elements within salt: the taste, the bringing out the taste through the inner dimension of Torah, permanence. Salt is a preservative, never decays. In order for you to have this approach with godliness, something that is consistent, we have to arouse and reveal our super rational love to God. Cleansing, salt is a cleanser and disinfectant. We have to purge our lives from all negative forces. And number 4 is the healing. Prophet Elisha healed the waters of Jericho with salt. Similarly, our approach to God must serve to heal our animal drives by eliminating their materialistic orientation and directing them toward divinity. And with that, we're going into the section on Geula. It can be found on page 144 in the Chayenu. The Midrash states, and this is from Vayikra Rabbah with commentary of Yefei Toya Ha'aruch. The Midrash states, great is peace, for all of God's blessings to the Jewish people concludes with peace. We learned this one. Then you go to the one on top. The Midrash states that all sacrifices will be cancelled in the future era. All sacrifices will be cancelled, except for the Todah, the thanksgiving offering. And all prayers will be annulled except for the Hoidah. Hoidah is also a thanksgiving prayer. So Todah remains, and Hoidah, the thanksgiving prayer, remains. So it is written, there will again be heard the sound of joy and the sound of gladness, the voice of a groom and the voice of a bride, kol sosim and kol simcha, the sound of those saying, thank the God of hosts. God is good, for his loving kindness endures forever, bringing a thanksgiving offering to God's house. So these 2 things will last even in the time of Mashiach, the thanksgiving offering and the prayer of Eidah, the thanksgiving prayer. We can understand that this Midrash refers only, this is Vayikra Rabbah, the Midrash in Vayikra Rabbah, commentary of Yefei Toya Ha'aruch. We can understand that this Midrash refers only to a private offerings and personal prayers, because the communal offerings will indeed continue. As stated, then you will desire sacrifices of righteousness, a burnt offering, and a whole offering. Similarly, communal prayer services will continue in the era of redemption, due to lack of sin and mishap. However, no need will arise for individual sin offerings or prayers for salvation and the like. Bruchim Tiyu. I'll have soon a short video on the Ein Yaakov, the daily Ein Yaakov, on tractate Pesachim.